Hi Chris, Ed here. Just thought I'd give you a quick review of Eve of the Daleks, your New Year's special. Well, look, I don't really have much to say about it, to be honest, because it had a sort of generic plot. It was a little bit like the Next Generation, that Star Trek: The Next Generation episode, Cause and Effect, where the characters are stuck in a temporal loop, and they eventually realise that in order to escape, they have to pass information into the next loop that will enable them to find a way out, and that's basically what happened in this episode. So that's the plot. Let's talk about the details. So Ashling B or Ashling B, Ashley B, the Irish comedian. She was in it as a woman, and there was a man called Nick, and he was in it, and they were the new characters. And what did they do? They died a lot, and they took instructions. But they got together at the end. So the Doctor created a little couple there, and they travelled the world together at the close. So that was nice for them, I suppose. Not really very interesting for us, but certainly nice for them. And then, what else? John Bishop was there, and he was in the background. Sacrificed himself once. Though it didn't really mean much, because obviously of the time loop conceit, he'd be fine. Heroism's easy and it's cheap when you know you're going to come back. Still. So I suppose really what was the main development? Well, of the TARDIS reset, I suppose it had to be taken out of action, because otherwise the gang could have just used it to escape the time loop. So you contrived to have it resetting and rebooting or whatever. And once it had finished resetting, it looked exactly the same. But I suppose a major redesign has to wait, doesn't it, until the Doctor dies. I mean, regenerates or degenerates, depending on who they turn into under Russell Dust's stewardship. He himself regenerating. So what's left? Well, I suppose really the only thing to talk about was the suggestion, later confirmed in the episode, that Yaz has a thing for the Doctor. She's sexually and romantically attracted to the Doctor. Now, I read about this a lot during Stephen's tenure, because I hate the idea, absolutely loathe the idea of any companion having a romantic infatuation with the Doctor. And the only thing worse than that idea is the idea that the Doctor might some way reciprocate. This was the awfulness of the David Tennant era, where there was this suggestion that he and Rose had this sort of underlying sexual tension. For me, it's a fundamental misunderstanding about the relationship between the Doctor and his companion, because the Doctor, you see, in my view, and in my reading of the Doctor Who series proper, as it were, that's the stuff made before 2005, is that the Doctor would never look at his companions in that way, because for him, they're like pets, you see. The Doctor is whatever you say, Chris, a product of Gallifrey, of a higher civilization, he's an advanced being, he's a long-lived being, he's been around now thousands of years, he has the collective knowledge of thousands of cultures in his or her brain. The Doctor is an evolved being, an enlightened being. There is no way that they would consider a romantic liaison with a human. Now, I know what you're going to say. The Doctor loves humanity and he loves Earth. Yeah, but he loves humanity, loves Earth the way I might love the cat cafe. I love cats. I adore cats. And I'd want to be around them. I want them around me. I'd love the little things. I'd be furious if anything happened to a cat. You know, I would fight tooth and nail to protect a cat. I would give any cat sanctuary that came to my home. And if I was going on adventures around the world, I could take a cat with me. I would. But I wouldn't fuck the cat. Do you understand the difference, Chris? You know, if I was a time-travelling being with a machine that could go through all space and time, and I encountered a planet full of cats, well, I might adopt that planet as my favourite planet in the universe, and I'd want to save it from any threat to its, territorial integrity or its existence or whatever. But no, absolutely no romantic or sexual feelings toward the cat population. You know, the gap between Yaz and the Doctor intellectually is so large that it is inconceivable that the Doctor would have those feelings toward Yaz. No equality in that relationship is possible. And I noted in my review of Flux that, the Doctor and Yaz, under your writing, had become virtually indistinguishable, Chris. And that is a massive problem because the Doctor should be markedly more evolved and more enlightened than his companions. He or she should not resemble them or sound like them, or share their preoccupations or their cultural reference points. The Doctor is on another level. And that's why the original dynamic of the Doctor as a wise old uncle was perfect, because that symbolically was absolutely right to a shorthand for the difference between the Doctor and the people that he travelled with. You look to the Doctor for wisdom, for understanding, for experience, for a different view on the universe. Not for sexual congress. So the idea is ridiculous and it can't go anywhere. I mean, I don't know what you're playing at, because obviously the idea that the Doctor could be attracted to Yaz is moronic, not because they're two women, though the Doctor's not a woman the way Yaz is a woman. The Doctor is a different species to Yaz. That's very important. They are anatomically different, amongst other things. But the gender is irrelevant. What's relevant is the gap that exists between this aged, learned alien and this, former police officer from Sheffield. Presumably, Yaz will leave the show, maybe in the final episode of Jodie Whittaker's tenure, when she realises that nothing can come of it. And maybe you'll be sensible enough to have Jodie Whittaker's doctor sit down with Yaz and explain that it would be like an act of bestiality with your family dog. No offence to Yaz, but that would be the same dynamic. It would just be absurd. So, as you can't consummate the relationship, why tease it? Are you just mucking around with the audience? I mean, you're wasting their time. You're wasting my time. Why bother? A few idiotic Whovians post-2005 New Who millennials on the Twitter will say, oh, about time, Doctor and Yaz, wouldn't it be amazing if they got together? These people shouldn't be watching Doctor Who. They shouldn't have a television. Don't write the show for them, because that is the quickest route to irrelevance. Russell Dust may well write for them. Let the blood be on his hands. Let him destroy the show once and for all. You know, you've given it a damn good hiding, but don't finish it off. Anyway, I'm hoping you'll have more sense, but we'll see what happens. But that's really all there is to say about Eve of the Daleks. You know, it was fine. It was superficially entertaining. You've improved a little bit just in time for the end of your stint. You've gone from writing Who that is awful, substandard, childlike and degenerate to average and passable. You know, derivative, acceptable Who. The kind of Who you can have on in the background while you're on your phone going through Twitter and have a reasonably passable hour. So congratulations, because that is a step up from where we were. I don't know, maybe you're saving your very best to last. Who can say? But whatever you do, don't end your stint with the Doctor and Yaz sharing an on-screen kiss or similar, while John Bishop stands watching, smiling warm-heartedly, rubbing his hands together. Don't let it end like that. The audience deserve a little bit better than that. Not a lot better, because, of course, they started to warm to you, but a little better. So that's it, Chris. I await the next Sea Devil special with some interest. Yeah. I like the Sea Devils.